Hey Ferras, welcome to your replay analysis. Today we're going to be looking at the 1v1 replay that you've sent into the Next Rank Discord channel. Our main point today will be kickoffs. Sounds a bit dumb, I know, but 7 out of the 11 goals that you conceded were kickoff goals. Obviously, there are other things in your replay that I've noticed that could use some improvement, but I really want to focus on the key aspect, the main aspect in your game that could need some improvement, and that is kickoffs. So let's get straight into the game and figure out what's going on. Okay, here we are. We're roughly 20 seconds in. You've just scored the goal, got the lead, but now you've done a poor job on the kickoff right here. The opponent's getting a free goal and ties the game back up. There are different things about kickoffs that I think you could invest a little bit more time in. The number one thing right here that is easiest to fix about this kickoff specifically is the height where you hit the ball. And you always want to hit the ball somewhat middle-ish. Not too low, not too high. If you hit the ball too high, you're probably going to bounce away and the opponent's getting a lot of control because the ball is not going to bounce very far away because you're essentially killing it in the middle. If you hit it too low, the ball is going to fly away like it does just here. I can show you. You hit it really low and he's got an easy beat. I'm going to show you it from his perspective. He hits it centrally, right? He jumps right before, hits it centrally, and that's why he beats you on the kickoff pretty hard. So that is the number one thing that you can improve on in terms of kickoffs. Let's get into the next. All right, 2 minutes in, you're down by a goal. The next kickoff is here. And this time you're getting beaten to the side of the ball and it results in a goal as well. In this particular scenario, you're actually nailing the height of the kickoff. So if you're watching in slow-mo, you jump before and it could be a little bit higher maybe, but it's like roughly fine, I would say. But the number one thing that I think is going wrong here is mainly the direction on where you're hitting the ball. In general, if you want to be safe on kickoffs, and I'm gonna going into the theory of kickoffs later in this video a lot more, so stay tuned for that. But in general, you never really want to hit the ball on kickoff too far on the outside. In this particular scenario, you have the center of the ball, the central line, let's say, and you really want to protect that because if you open it up and the opponent has a free ball there, they're going to beat you to it through the middle and they're going to have an easy time getting past you, right? So never hit it too far on the outside because that's just going to give it away into your own corner. Obviously, if you're in 2s or 3s and you want to do like a back left corner kickoff, to lose it into your back corner so your teammate can get the ball, that's totally valid. But in ones, not so much. So that is the next point that I want you to pay attention to. Don't be too far on the outside. Don't give away the middle of the ball too easy. Okay, next situation. This will be the third factor of kickoffs. And right here, you're getting beaten high again, but this time you're actually flipping into the ball. So you're getting decent height. Obviously you're still pretty low, but I don't think that's the main reason why you lose this kickoff. First, we talked about the height on where you want to hit the ball. And the second example, we were talking about the horizontal direction where you want to hit the ball. So not too far on the outside, more like centrally. But now there's a new factor coming in, and that is flips. You never really want to hit the ball on the outside like you do here. And then also flip away from the ball. You're coming from this direction and you're flipping that way. Again, opening up the center of the ball. Your opponent is also hitting the ball on the side, but he's also flipping this way, meaning he's blocking his center of the pitch. So the only direction where the ball can possibly go is somewhere in this area, right? So he closes the center of the ball, you open it up, therefore you lose the ball, you lose the kickoff. That's the third component of kickoffs that you need to be aware of in terms of where you want to flick. So you never want to hit the ball on the outside and flick to this side. If in this scenario you actually flip to this side of the pitch, your opponent would have flipped that way as well, you would have probably won that kickoff. It would have probably gone somewhere here. And you could have scored immediately with a quick shot on target. But because you went to the outside as well, your opponent's won because he covers the center a bit more than you do. All right, so let's get into the theory of kickoffs. The first component, obviously, we've talked about hitting the ball mid-high. This is generally a rule that you can stick to. Always try to get a slight jump before hitting the ball, so you're getting a decent height. The next component is the combination of where you hit the ball on a horizontal scale, so from left to right, and where you flip, so the flip direction. Meaning, depending on where you want to put the ball, your kickoff needs to be different. You might have heard Johnny Boy talk in his 1v1 show matches about, okay, this player switches his kickoff, but it looks pretty much similar every time. So you're wondering, okay, how does he actually switch his kickoff? And this is mainly what I'm talking about here. Maybe some players have habits and they drive slightly to the right. Let's say both players are coming centrally from here. Some players might tilt slightly to the right so that they can then flip into the center of the ball. And that way they're closing the center of the pitch essentially, and they're winning the kickoff slightly to the left because the opponent is just going straight center. And if they're going that way, they can essentially win the kickoff to their advantage to the left side, because they then, because of their flip, they have momentum to the left side and they can get a quick follow-up, right? So what you never really want to do is hit on the outside and then also give up possession by flipping away from the ball and opening up the middle of the pitch or the middle of the ball. You never want to do that. In that case, it's also worth mentioning that you can switch up your kickoff depending on what the opponents do. And that is essentially the third component of kickoff, reading your opponent. You actually need to pay attention to your opponent. Does he have habits? How does he switch up his kickoffs? The higher you go in level of 1v1, the more opponents are going to focus on kickoffs, getting variety in kickoffs. They're going to start faking kickoffs more, adding more skills to kickoff level essentially. And you need to be able to adapt to that. And in theory, you need to be able to read your opponent while they're going for kickoff, where they're going, right? So during kickoff, during driving to the ball, you want to be able to see, does he go to the right side or to his right side? Does he go centrally? Does he go slightly to the left? Sometimes opponents go for like an illusion play, like a fake play, where they go to the left, but then just before hitting the ball, they switch to the other side to confuse you. That might happen on a higher level. So if you rank up more, you might encounter these type of kickoffs. So you want to be able to adapt to that. So if you notice that a player is constantly going to his right side, hitting the ball from here, you can counter this by either going to this side as well and flick into this direction, or go centrally, but then flick to the right. Okay? If you go on the outside as well, you want to flick to the left, so you cover up your middle. And if you go to the middle, you want to flip it right, because he's going to flip right as well. And then you will be first to the ball because you're further to this part of the pitch than he is, because he's slightly to your left. So you will be faster to the ball. These are simple ways that you can adapt. And I know this might sound very complicated, but main rules that you need to keep in mind in kickoffs: hit the ball on the middle height, don't hit the ball too far on the outside, and don't flip away from the center. Always keep your center of the ball covered. And I want to show you a good example of your game. There is actually two examples where you did a great kickoff. So I really want to show you that so you can actually see how it works in a game. Okay, here we are. Just pay attention to where you hit the ball vertically and horizontally. You jump, so you're getting enough height and you can actually start the attack. Unfortunately, you do not get the clinical shot, but that's not what we're going to talk about today. It's just about the kickoff. And this kickoff is really, really good. Right before jumping, right before hitting the ball, you jump, getting the height, and you cover up the center of the pitch. I'm going to remove the nameplate so you can see. You cover up the center of the pitch and you flip to the left. And because you're slightly more to the center than he is, you actually win this ball. And because you're slightly more to the center than he is, you're actually faster to the ball as well, because you're closer to the ball. This is a really good example of how you can actually manipulate the kickoff to your advantage. Let's get into the second example. Okay, here we are. Let's take a quick look. Going for the kickoff. Again, hitting it good and on a good height. And you're also covering your center of the pitch. Flipping the ball to the side. You're again in a better position than he is. I'm going to show you again. So right here, approaching the kickoff. See how you're more central than he is. And he is playing the ball into you. So you're essentially winning the ball quite easily because of it. Alright, these were two good examples. Let's finish this video up. Okay, I hope you learned something about kickoffs today. Your task for now will be get into the 1v1 games yourself in the replays and try to analyze your kickoffs with the tips that I've just showed you. Take any random replay, 1v1 replay that you do. Maybe take the exact same replay that you've sent me or sent into the Discord channel. Try to analyze them yourself. Are you hitting the ball at the correct height? Are you hitting the ball too far outside? Are you flipping away from the ball? Are you giving up the center of the ball? All of these components. Try to analyze your own kickoffs so you can practice your strength on reading kickoffs and actually how you can manipulate them. And then get into the 1v1 games yourself and try to implement those tips. I hope that these tips were helpful for you. If you got any questions, let me know. And good luck with your training.